The second dish I cooked in the Wonderbag was based on the pot roast recipe I found on their website. I changed it up here and there, so here's a list of what I used. I had the butcher cut the 3 pounds of meat in half. I also trimmed the meat a bit, and then I added salt and pepper, while heating about a tablespoon of oil in the pot. The recipe called for a 6 to 9 quart pot. Mine was 5 quarts, and I decided to try it anyway. It worked out just fine. I browned the meat on all sides, only setting off the smoke alarm twice, and while browning, I added about 1/3 cup tomato paste and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to a bowl, and then whisked in slightly more than 1 cup of water. When the meat was browned, I took it out of the pot and replaced it with all the herbs and veggies except for the potatoes, and sautéed them for a few minutes before adding the liquid mixture. Once the liquid was boiling, I added the meat and thought that it could use more liquid, so I added another cup of water and mixed it up a bit. Once it was boiling again, I added the potatoes, stirred it up, added the bay leaves, and buried them on either side of the meat. I then brought it all to a boil again, covered the pot, and let it simmer over low heat for about half an hour. It was tempting to look in the pot to see how things were going, but doing so lets out a lot of heat and is not recommended. I opened the Wonderbag up, put a cloth down in case it spilled a little, and placed the pot inside. I then added the hat, closed it up tight, and left it in the corner while I went to work for 5 hours. The instructions said to leave it in the bag for 4 to 6 hours or overnight, so when I came home I let it sit for another hour for a total of 6 hours in the bag. It looked really good, though I probably didn't need to add that extra cup of water, as a lot of water and juices came out of the meat and veggies. Since liquids cooking on the Wonderbag do not evaporate as fast as on the stove or even in a conventional slow cooker, you end up with pretty much everything you start with. I took out the meat and cut the big piece in half to make sure that it was cooked through, and then we dug in. I like a lot of gravy, so I took advantage of the extra liquids. But you can easily remove the vegetables from the pot and use a gravy recipe to thicken up the pot roast flavored stock you're left with. The veggies were tender but not mushy, and while the meat was not completely falling apart, it was in fact tender and delicious. I will definitely be making this again.